For years, if you wanted the most top-shelf dab money could buy, there was one look everybody chased. Shatter. That hard, glassy, see-through slab that snapped like a piece of amber candy. Back then, that clarity was seen as the ultimate mark of a clean, high-quality concentrate. But these days, that's not what tops the shelf anymore. The stuff people actually want now is soft, creamy, and opaque. Something that looks a whole lot more like cake frosting than glass. This is the story of batter. So let's start with what batter actually is, because the name gives away the whole thing. Batter is a cannabis concentrate, which just means it's the good stuff extracted and concentrated down from the plant into a super potent form. But what makes batter batter is its texture. Instead of being hard and glassy like some concentrates, it's whipped during processing into this soft, creamy, malleable consistency that looks and feels just like cake batter or thick frosting. It's usually a bright, appetizing blonde or golden color, and it's soft enough that you can easily scoop a little bit out. Like most concentrates, batter is made to be dabbed. Now, if you're not familiar, dabbing is basically a way of consuming these concentrates. Instead of rolling it up, people usually take a tiny amount, put it onto a specially heated surface, and it flash vaporizes instantly into a smooth, potent vapor that they breathe in. And because these concentrates are so much stronger than regular flour, a little dab goes a really long way. So that soft, scoopable batter texture is perfect for it, because you can easily portion out just the small amount you actually need without any hassle. So, to really get why batter matters, it helps to see where it sits among all the other concentrates. Because concentrates come in a whole range of different textures. On one end, you've got that hard, glassy shatter we talked about. Then you've got things like crumble, which is dry and crumbly, and sugar, which is grainy and wet like the name suggests. You've got sauce, which is thick and syrupy with little crystals in it. And then, right in the soft, creamy, whipped middle of all that, you've got batter and its close cousin, butter. These are the smooth, aerated ones, the concentrates that got whipped up into that frosting-like feel. Which brings us to a question that confuses almost everybody. What's the actual difference between batter and butter? So honestly, this is where I have to be straight with you, because the answer is messier than you'd think. The general idea is that butter is a little firmer and thicker, more like actual butter, while batter is a bit softer and looser, more like runny batter. But in the real world, these two words get used completely interchangeably. One shop's butter looks exactly like another shop's batter. Ask 3 different bud tenders what the difference is, and you'll probably get 3 completely different answers. But the single most important thing to understand about that whole debate is this. The texture has nothing to do with how strong or how good it is. This is a myth worth busting, because a lot of people assume a firmer, thicker concentrate must somehow be more potent or higher quality. And it's just not true. Whether an extract comes out as a soft batter or a firm butter, it mostly just comes down to how much it got whipped and how it was handled during processing. A looser batter is not weaker than a firmer butter. So if you're judging how strong your concentrate is purely by its exact texture, you're honestly looking at the completely wrong thing. The texture is about feel and personal preference, not power. So if texture isn't the point, then what actually makes batter so beloved, you may ask? And the answer is flavor. See, to understand this, you need to know about terpenes. Terpenes are the aromatic compounds inside cannabis that give every strain its unique smell and taste, all those fruity, gassy, piney, citrusy notes. But terpenes are also really fragile. They're delicate, and a lot of them get burned off and destroyed by high heat. And this is exactly where batter shines, because that whipped, creamy style of concentrate is generally made in a way that protects and preserves way more of those precious terpenes. More terpenes means more flavor and more aroma. So compared to that old glassy shatter, a good batter simply tastes richer, louder, and more like the plant it came from. Now, to understand how batter took over, we have to go back to where this whole whipped concentrate idea even started. And it traces back to a mysterious figure known only as Butter King. Back in the 1990s, up in British Columbia, Canada, this anonymous extractor figured out how to turn concentrate into that soft, creamy, buttery texture, and he called it butter. He brought it to the public at a Vancouver dispensary back in 2003, and in an interview with a cannabis magazine, he hyped it as the strongest, cleanest, most potent stuff in the world. He actually tried to trademark the name butter, but he got denied, so he tweaked the spelling to butter instead. But even though that first dispensary eventually got shut down, the idea was already out of the bag. That creamy butter concept spread down into the United States, right as something huge was happening with concentrates. Because in the 2010s, dabbing absolutely exploded. As legalization spread to places like Colorado and Washington, and as the equipment got safer and more refined, dabbing went from a niche underground thing into a massive part of cannabis culture. Concentrates got so popular, they even got their own holiday, 7/10, which is the word oil spelled upside down, celebrated on July 10th. But in those early boom years, batter and butter weren't actually the kings yet. Shatter was. Like we said at the start, that glassy, translucent shatter was seen as the peak of the craft. If your concentrate was clear like glass, that meant it was clean and pure and expertly made. That was the whole flex. Everybody wanted that see-through hard candy slab, and it was the gold standard on every dispensary shelf. But there was one really annoying problem with shatter that opened the door for batter. And that problem was simple. Shatter is a genuine pain to actually use. Because it's hard and brittle and sticky all at once, shatter is a nightmare to handle. It snaps and cracks and shatters into little pieces. It sticks to your tools, and trying to break off one clean, small portion is frustrating. And this is where batter just quietly won people over. That soft, whipped texture scoops up as easily as frosting. It's forgiving, it's convenient, and there's no fighting with it. So you had this concentrate that was not only easier to use than shatter, but also packed with more flavor. And once people realized that, the whole market started to shift. Cannabis lovers slowly stopped caring so much about whether their concentrate looked like clear glass, and started caring a lot more about two things: how easy it was to use, and most importantly, how good it tasted. And on both of those fronts, the soft, flavorful, whipped textures just won. Shatter went from being the undisputed king to a small slice of the market, while these terpene-rich, easy-to-handle concentrates took over the top shelf. But there's one more piece that really pushed batter over the top, and that's the live revolution. Because a few years into the dab boom, some extractors in Colorado came up with something called live resin. Normally, cannabis is dried and cured after harvest, and that whole process destroys a big chunk of those fragile, flavorful terpenes. But with live resin, they took the fresh plants and flash froze them immediately at harvest instead, locking in all that flavor before it could ever be lost. The result was a concentrate bursting with way more aroma and taste than anything before it. And when you take that super flavorful live resin and whip it into that creamy texture, you get the best of both worlds. Live batter. Live batter basically combines everything people love. It's got that easy-to-handle, scoopable batter texture, and it's got the massive, loud, mouth-watering flavor of that fresh, frozen live resin. It quickly became one of the most popular and sought-after premium products on the entire market. And for the real purists, there's even a version made using no chemical solvents at all, just ice, heat, and pressure, which gives you a clean, whipped concentrate that terpene lovers absolutely chase. So, where does all this leave batter today, you may be wondering? And the answer is, it's honestly one of the biggest categories on the dab scene, especially in that live batter form. It sits in this perfect sweet spot, not as brittle and fussy as shatter, not as fiddly as some of the other textures, just creamy, flavorful, easy to use, and loaded with terpenes. In terms of pure strength, batter usually tests somewhere in the 70 to 90% range for THC, which is absolutely insane if you compare those numbers to just plain old cannabis. But it also explains, again, why just a small dab is plenty. It has completely earned its spot as a permanent dispensary staple, and it doesn't look to be going anywhere. So at the end of the day, batter is proof that the cannabis world grew up and changed what it actually values. It started with a mysterious Canadian and his creamy butter, and it took over during the dab boom by beating glassy shatter at the only things that really matter. Being easy to use and tasting incredible. It showed that a great dab was never really about looking like clear glass. It was about preserving that rich, natural flavor. So, what about you? Are you a fan of that soft, whipped batter and butter? Or are you still a shatter loyalist at heart? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this one, do me a favor and hit that like button. Subscribe for more deep dives like this one, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.